in Nigeria, in the wake of this, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has told the presidential candidates of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is empowered by law to determine the mode, collation and transmitting election results. In a suit filed by the Nigerian Labour Party against INEC for manual collation of results, Justice Nwite ruled that collating and transmitting results manually in the 2023 general election cannot be said to be contrary to the relevant provisions of the Electoral Act 2022. Jide, would this be the key to the failure of INEC in the presidential election? As in, will this vindicate INEC? For, INEC said they have in their guideline that the result will be uploaded and transmitted to the IREV. Would this court, what the court has just said, would this in any way let INEC off the hook?
Of course, remember the sessions of the House of Reps and the Senate when they were drafting this Electoral Act were very noisy, very rowdy. One thing that those opposed to transmission of results were able to insert into the law, the Electoral Act, was the permission to INEC to use any mode that it deems fit. So they permitted both manual and electronic transmission of results. The law, section 28 of the guidelines, permitted both. So by not using the IREF, yes, you could say they went against their guidelines, but the guidelines, the use of the IREF is not in the Electoral Act. And where there is conflict between guidelines and an act, the act takes preeminence over the guidelines. Just like the Constitution supersedes any act. So the fact that the law permits them to use any mode that they deem fit, the fact that the law permits both manual and electronic transmission is something that is crucial. That is why people like the INEC chairman do not think that they've done anything wrong. And in any case, what are we even talking about? The transmission of results to the viewing portal is, as at Friday, was more than 95% done. Which means if you saw any result on that viewing portal, the public viewing portal, which is the IREF, that is against the result that you got from a polling unit as submitted to you by your party agent, you have a chance now to begin to document all of the places where you have the conflicting the conflicting discrepancies and all that. That's the essence of the thing. So that those going to court can arm themselves with that evidence. The most important source of valid election result is the Form EC8A. And the Form EC8A is manually collated, and that is permitted by law. That's what is known to law. I've told people, transmission, many people have tried to diminish this election despite the gains that we made in this election because of that non-transmission real time. But no one can deny the fact that this election has taught us so many lessons. If elections were to be rigged by the governors in power with all the resources at their disposal, I look at the East, they won't allow Obi to even take one of those states in the East. If it was before, when they would simply go and write this, or they would summon the collation. You remember, they used to rig election from local government collation centers. Did anybody talk about local government collation centers this time? Because of electronic transmission. INEC has been transmitting electronically even before the IREF. And the law permits them to transmit even offline, so that when you get to the where there is a network, you can then upload. Upload. So they can transmit offline. That is permitted. So I think in the fullness of time, all of those results, maybe in the next 2-3 days, all of those results will have been fully uploaded, and people can check and confirm whether rigging are taking place in those places or not. Nigerians wanted to be able to check this thing real time, but they claim that there were glitches, and of course, some people have been saying that there were attempts at the INEC portal, which scared INEC, and so INEC slowed down and waited for the results to have been fully announced before they began to upload. Because even the collation, the job that the chief collating officer, which is Mahmoud Yakubu, his own job, there is no reason he should wait for transmission of results to IREF. There's no law that says he must wait until that's fully transmitted before he starts his own collation. I have people saying no, that he should stop the exercise. There's no such thing. We all want an improvement in our electoral process. Beavers, in my view, after achieving 85% functionality, Beavers has been the difference maker. In the days when we didn't have Beavers, people will line up, collect incident form. They are not even from the state. And they will go and vote. Dogs will vote, all kinds of people will vote. But now, your facials will be checked, your thumb prints will be checked. Beavers have sanitized the system. You can see the votes are coming down. Those who used to give us 1 million plus. I'll give the example of, even me, I was looking forward to the vote from Borno State. Honestly. But you saw what came from Borno, just about 250,000. I
was shocked.
Whereas the highest vote that any governor was given in 2019, over 1 million, came from Borno State. Well, I can tell you now that with Beavers in place, Beavers is the single most important tool for credible elections in our country. The second, what IREF does is to provide a layer of transparency, so that if they change results, people can easily know.
Second, Nigerians are, that day, since INEC went out of their way to tell us that they are going to transmit results electronically, and a lot of people took it that, okay, they were going to wait and watch. And that portal is only 2 million people that can access that portal at a given time. So at the end of the day, that thing did not turn up. Now, it's now a subject of litigation.
Yes, it is. Ayo, what we have before us, in law, we always talk about morality and law. There's a difference between morality and law.
What is legally right might not be morally.
Exactly. The issue before us is morality and law. INEC has the right to determine what mode, manner, when, where, and how election we hold. It was in their power. And there's nobody that's going to challenge that. If INEC decide that presidential election is going to hold today, it will hold today. They've been given that power. Let me take you back. We have similar things that just happened with the central bank. It's the same law. The central bank, that law established, the Central Bank Act also gave it that power to determine when to change a currency, to print, to design, and when to release. That power has been embedded in the Act, established CBN Act. But despite that, some people went to the Supreme Court to challenge that power of the CBN on certain issues, time frame.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? They went to challenge. The law have already given CBN. In law, there's no law that is cast. The law has given CBN that you cannot challenge. Is a law that. But they went to court, and you could see that they were not challenging the power of CBN to print, release of those notes. The only thing they were saying that the time frame given is giving our people problem. When you look at this morally, is it morally right that you are telling me that somebody that is from my state in Kaduna will have 10,000 naira in the bank? He will go to the bank, he will not be able to pay. It's going to put a lot of pressure. Not only pressure on me, it could also cause some high level of insecurity in my state. So you as the governor has the right now to protect the people that you are. The same thing with AY. Before this election, the INEC chairman severally told Nigerians, point blank, that we have everything to conduct this election, and in real time, this result will be coming in and will be sent directly to the portal for everybody to see. Now, people has now started, when you start having that issue and start giving people that. So, question, first and foremost, the question that was asked, how come that you were able to transmit, is the same Beaver, you were able to transmit that of the Senate. You were able to transmit that of House of Representatives. When you go to the presidential, you are having issues. There could be reason for that. It is for INEC to be able to stop. But now that brings a kind of morality question, and that is where people start looking at the integrity of the system. I tell you that if the INEC have gotten that, this would have been the freest and best election we ever had in Nigeria. Even, I would say even since 1960. Possibly. There's also, if you look at what happened in some of the states where we had this election, Osun, Ekiti, right? Is it Ekiti or Ondo? Ekiti, Medo, and some other states, you could see that the beavers work perfectly well. Although there is an issue with that of Osun, where we had issue of overvoting, but that has been determined by the tribunal and the Court of Appeal. It's going to the Supreme Court. The issue now is that did INEC do what is right? And that is where the issue. And that is why we're having this kind of dispute going on here and there now, where people, even the political parties themselves, and let me also tell this, INEC also had serious issue. The greatest part of the problem with INEC is communication. When this issue started, INEC, I personally had expected the INEC chairman could have come and tell Nigerians, we are having issues with transmitting of this. This thing was going for hours, everybody, all the report, even all the TVC, even TVC that went to most of the polling unit was able to reply that people are complaining that irrespective we had logistic issues, coming, the INEC officials not coming early, transportation and the rest of them. When he became, I expected the INEC chairman to have addressed that issue. The day he opened the Collation Center, the first thing I expected him to have said, and he would have communicated to Nigerians to be able to remove any doubt from any Nigeria or of the political party. We have agreed that we have issue with the beavers and the transmission of some of these, but we're working. It was not until after that they established. So that is where the issue is. Whether the court is going to, now the court has given everyone. It has given the Labour Party, it has given the APC, it has given the PDP the right to go and look at what has been done. And I think we should be able to wait for some of this to get. But for me, whether INEC has the right or he has the right to determine it. But if left to me, if I'm to score this election, I will say that INEC performed woefully. That's my personal opinion. He would have gotten it right, and Professor Mahmoud would have written his name for the failure of that system. Yes, it's the system. That is my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion.
Do you agree with Sikia?
Well, of course not. Transmission, electronic transmission is just one phase of the whole process. And the way this election went, the surprises that we saw. 20 governors lost their states out of 36 governors. I mean, this is not, it's unusual now.
Governorship elections coming now,
used to be.
People are jittery.
We know, of course, they are jittery because they know the beavers will not permit rigging like before. I've seen a governor, I was with a governor, he was advising his people, he said, you better go and work hard. You know, this thing can be manipulated like before God and man. In the past, I won't hear a governor saying that. He will wait until it's over and he will do his magic.
Some will go and write
But
in
they
hotel
know,
rooms.
and
Those days.
they will have from ECA of their own.
Yes.
Individual contestants will be filling forms and then waiting. When they fill it, because they have the original from ECA, at the level of the local government collation, they swap it, give INEC their own, they will take. So, you see why I cannot agree that it's a woeful election. At the end of the day, all of those results, the only thing INEC did that did not meet expectations was that people could not access.
Yeah, that portal.
Yes, and they did not send results real time from the polling units. But the important thing is that result. It is still the result generated at those polling units that are being put there now.
But some people that the election did not favor are saying that their inability to access that portal
at that time.
No, but it's still that there. Something might have happened.
How?
Something might have gone wrong.
No, that is why if you listen to me earlier, I said now, that's the essence of the court. Now, if a result that has been uploaded is against what came from your polling center, that your agent delivered. Remember when Dino was making that noise? The INEC chairman said, where is the result? Obviously, it didn't have any result on him. Now, all those results are being uploaded still. People can check to see whether they've been substituted, to see whether overvoting has happened, to see whether they have changed those results. When they can establish, because it's the same result that they didn't post earlier that has been put there now. So people can check to see whether any changes have happened. We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. The matter of electronic transmission real time, because it didn't happen, does not take away the fact that this election was credible to the point that 20 governors lost their state. APC alone lost 12 states. Was it happening before? That's to send a clear signal that, look, this is an election that is different from previous one. But to simply dismiss it because of the matter of transmission and rate it woeful?
No, it's not just about Jide. It's not just about transmission. Let's talk. What makes the totality of an election is just not transmission. It's not just the result. It's a process. Ask yourself. Yes,
apart from the non-transmission. What did you see?
Jide, people voted till 9, 10, 1 a.m. That is not the first time in Nigeria. But
of course,
I'm saying that. But the number, the rate through which people went through, in terms of logistics, they didn't get it right. Let us be very, very factual.
No, of course, logistic failure was there.
That is part of what I'm saying. When I said, I'm not talking about just transmission. Transmission is just one out of the problem I'm talking about. I say even in the area of logistics, you could see that so many people, for the first time, people were you were at, I was watching you. You were in Adamawa. And I saw how you left. I was watching you live. I saw how you left a room. Which one was that? Where there was no light.
Yes.
Is it not true? Where there was no generator. Then from there, we switched to somebody, another, still on TV, so I was watching. They switched to another, I think it was Enugu, one of us, to, was it the something square in Enugu or something. The guy there, one of the guys, they also said this. What I'm saying is that when you look at how much was budgeted for this election and what came out, let us not continue to say this is we got it right, we got it right. You know why? When we continue saying that, those that are supposed to have done what they ought to do, we relax and feel they've done the best of the job.
In some ways, we got it right.
To some extent, I'm not disputing the fact. I'm not dismissing the fact that I didn't say that it's a total. But what I'm saying is that it's below expectation. Because probably if we've not had those,
there's no election that we've had that's not below expectation.
Maybe if we have not noticed what happened in
Abuja, for example.
No, if we have Jide, let me tell you, it is much easier when you don't chop jollof rice, correct jollof rice. Somebody can't give you the one we no taste again because your taste don't go up.
You see, no, but it's getting better.
You know,
see, let me tell you something, because I like to rely on data on some of these things. In 2015, we achieved 56% use of the card reader. And that election produced the wish of Nigerians.
Okay.
And the INEC one was praised repeatedly. By 2019, it had come down to 19% use of the card reader.
Good.
Everybody has seen that, oh, this card reader will not let us win election. No.
Yes.
In sync with INEC staff, they were bypassing it.
Okay.
Then INEC got the law amended to ensure that you cannot bypass the beavers. And when you do not bypass the beavers, that is the result that we had. All of those governors that lost, 20 governors losing their state, 7 governors failing to go to the Senate. One of them even lost to his former aide. These things will not have happened. A governor will not allow himself to be embarrassed. Now, that points to the fact that there's something called redeeming feature. There's no man created by God that is totally bad. In this election, there were things that showed clearly that the election, we are beginning to get to the point that we want. Those kneeling down, begging voters, it's because they know they're in trouble. In the past, they would not do that. When they could easily change this thing. I said even the off-season election of 2019, Bayelsa and Kogi, we achieved only 16% use of the card reader. Many places it was ignored. Now you must use beavers. If you don't use beavers, they cancel the election.
That's why
nothing like
87 million.
That is why I was
that collected PVC.
How many people voted? No, how many? No, let us even look at it. Let us even look at it. In as much as we're looking at overvoting and the number of. Now look at this election. About 87 million people collected their PVC to vote. I've not seen the final analysis. Probably after the gubernatorial election and House of Assembly, we'll be able to know the percentage of people that voted. There was so much.
It's not
26
people are hungry. People are hungry. Say, no, just stay away. When you don't make cash available for people, there is no fuel. A lot of them stay away.
We have discussed this in the past and said that this will even make people to come out to vote.
No, that's not.
Okay. There have been instances where they say that people get so annoyed with what happened, they come out and vote.
No, many people stayed away because they could not afford to trek. They don't even have food to eat. Do you know that even pure water, people couldn't find money to buy pure water? They couldn't find money to buy. People are going through a lot. In Kaduna, do you know why it was so easy to defeat the APC? Their own supporters were so angry against the party that they stayed away. Now, they are going back to beg them that, look, we have won this case in Supreme Court. This thing will get better. Come out and vote. So, many reasons account for low turnout. Another thing is the logistical nightmare that people faced.
I said that.
You've been on the queue for 3 hours.
I said it earlier on too.
Didn't come.
That is part of the electoral process.
Some people went away and never came back.
Of course.
It happened a lot.
Okay,
of course. How can you have in Abuja, in the city, this on the road to the airport, they were sending me a message on election day. 11:30, they had not even brought materials in the federal capital. It's not even in the hinterland.
So we say that INEC did well.
In Lagos, for example, they wanted to use Oluomo's people and all that.
And the issues.
Some people went to court.
So
when they went to court,
alternative.
they had alternative at the last minute because that case was decided late. That contributed to logistic problems here. So, but for me, coming out to say this is the worst election, this same election where 20 governors lost, no, that's not how I assess things. And I don't use emotions to assess things. I look at data, we have never had a situation in which people who had powerful people, you look at a governor like El-Rufai, he's one of the most powerful governors in our country. But he lost Kaduna by wide margin. You now see that and say this election is a lie.
They don't use the presidential.
I disagree.
That dynamics may change in the governorship election.
So what? Let us not use that. The beavers
let us not. You'll be.
As long as the beavers.
Put it down here. And that the dynamics of that election will change.
No two elections are the same.
Yes, the dynamics is going to change on Saturday. So I'm not using. But what I'm saying is that I will not sit down here and give INEC a pass mark. INEC disappointed a lot of Nigerians. INEC disappointed a lot of Nigerians, and that is why we are having this kind of this thing.
Pass mark now. Nobody is asking you to give pass mark.
I can't.
Now the thing is, but to come and for people to say it's the worst.
No, I didn't say it's the worst.
No, I didn't. You've been hearing people say it's the worst.
Those are people, of course. People always say. People will always, of course, people have their.
They posted stuff on IREF.
Yeah.
Anybody who feels that, oh, the result from his polling unit A, this was what we scored, I have the result. Check what has been posted against what you have. That is the beginning of checking whether what has been posted is even passes the test of validity. So from that point, we can then decide that, oh, so a lot of what they posted is rigged this thing. Then I've also told people, in the Lagos area and Rivers, there are complaints about the way the election went. People intimidated, people harassed and all that, and other problems. But to make it look like that is the way it is across our countries, to be dishonest. Because we know that largely, some of those problems, people intimidated, maybe afraid that they will lose, beating up people. It didn't happen in many places. It was largely peaceful.
Did they?
But INEC should have done better in terms of
in my village,
logistics.
In my village, Umungobo in Imo State, we had 3 police stations. Transmission of results was a problem. I'm talking of my village now, and I'm giving you that of House of Reps, Senate was transmitted. When it goes to the presidential, they waited till about 10 midnight. They started let them move to the REC or RAC or whatever they are listening. And that is what I'm talking about. It was trust. That is what the people. So people will always transmit.
It now. You see, INEC will also be foolish
if they have
to wait until maybe their portal is attacked or something. I don't know what exactly happened, but
they should come and clean and tell Nigerians.
They said they had glitches. They said they had glitches. People don't want to hear. They said they had glitches. Now those things have been posted. Everybody can see it now.
It will be determined at the tribunal. I don't think
people can see it. No, you as an individual from your polling station, you know what you
Yes, of course, I know that
you can check it against what has been posted.
They say some people were trying to collate the
yes,
result.
And
they have their own collation.
And they
saw the margin.
That thing happens a lot. We've seen some online outfits trying to do some polling.
Yes.
Who will win? Once it goes against their own favored listing, they will shut down the site. This one, it was one ACN of Labour Party. I've been reading about him. He's one of their techie guys, brilliant tech guys. They have a lot of them. And they started an alternative IREF of their own and started posting, doing individual collation, electronic collation of their own, based on the results on INEC portal. The moment they saw that Tinubu was ahead, they stopped. In fact, they shut down, because it will now negate the fight that they are into. The thing is, yes, the transmission, if you ask me, I would have loved to see it. We were praising them when they were doing the off-season.
That is what I said.
Now,
most of those other states.
Now somebody, I've read what the National Computer Society of Nigeria said, that even INEC, what was budgeted for this whole process was not enough. Very few Nigerians will know that. And that they probably didn't do a stress test, because where they were using it before was for off-season election. We are now talking about 200 million Nigerians, So he said all of those things. That's the head of the Nigerian Computer Society, and that they wanted to help INEC, but INEC was not forthcoming. So there could have been some problems that we didn't see. But it's for them, as he said, to come out to say, this is in detail, but they were just telling us glitches.
Just like glitches and
all right.
But
as I went down, electronic transmission of results is just one phase of the process. The most important is the form what's on form EC8A, and that is what is even transmitted.
Hard copy.
So if at the end of the day,
we also saw some of those being changed. Some of those figures being changed. On those,
Mutilated.
you saw that mutilated.
You
saw it.
Now we will look at the. You see,
There were some of them being
see,
mutilated.
these things, how many in the final analysis do we have?
Enough to alter.
Are they enough to say? Because I was telling someone, I said, even if you say so much about what happened in Lagos, some of what happened in Lagos, I personally are opposite. You said a lot about what happened in Rivers. If we take all the votes that Asiwaju scored in the whole of the Southwest and all that is scored in Rivers away, he will still win the election by over 1 million. Yes. It will still be on 7 million. Atiku is on 6 million. Take away all those votes. It still won't stop him from winning.
All right.
Atiku is on 6 million. And Asiwaju is on 8 million. So how many votes did he get in the whole of? There is nowhere in the Southwest where Asiwaju got up to 72%. Even in Ondo, just I think 67 or 60 something. So it's not the kind of percentage votes that he got was not up to what Obi was getting in
97, 95,
yes.
93.
So even if we take away all of what he got in the Southwest,
the US was 87.
Ayo.
Not Southeast.
If we take, you see, when we are talking about things that shouldn't have happened in the election, it is not across the country that those things happened. It's just some areas. And those who are even complaining, I've not seen anybody, for example, say, oh, in Borno, in Yobe, in all of these places, they are Nigerians as well. And they are entitled to the votes that they gave their candidates. So if you take away all of what is called in the Southwest, take away what is called in the rivers, where I admit that there had been so much complaint, he will still win the election.
All right. And finally, amidst the worsening cash